The rain clawed at the city, relentless and cold. My shift was over until Miller called. Babysitting a corpse at the county morgue, he said, no explanation. 20 years on the force, and this was my reward. The city's shadows felt thicker tonight as I drove through neon-streaked streets. The morgue loomed, silent and waiting. Miller's tone had been off, too casual, too quick. I killed the engine, rain pounding, and braced for whatever waited inside. The morgue was a mausoleum, cold and unwelcoming. Inside, the chill bit deep, the silence oppressive. An old attendant shuffled out, eyes dull, barely acknowledging me. "Cold room 3, he muttered, handing me a clipboard. No questions, just directions to the dead. The corridor stretched, lined with steel doors, each a tomb. My footsteps echoed as I reached the end. The label, Cold Room 3. I turned the handle and stepped into the freeze. The door shut behind me, sealing me in the cold. The room was small, steel walls reflecting harsh fluorescent light. In the center, a gurney draped in white, my guest. The silence was absolute, the air thick with disinfectant and something older. I circled the gurney, unease gnawing at me. Miller's words echoed, "Make sure our guest stays put." I checked the door, irrationally. Then a faint sound, like ice cracking, pricked my ears. I had to look. I pulled back the sheet. What was left of the face was brutalized, eyes empty. This was no peaceful death. It was violence, pure and simple. The body was small, battered, and impossibly still. The cold from the corpse was different, absolute, final. My training screamed it was just a body, but something felt wrong. The room seemed to shrink, the air thickening. Then a faint sigh, soft, escaping from the gurney. I froze. My head snapped to the gurney. Had I imagined it? Corpses don't sigh. I stared, willing the sheet to stay still, then a soft rustle, fabric moving. My heart pounded as I stepped closer, unarmed. The sheet twitched right over the chest. Impossible, but undeniable. Fear surged, raw, primal. Miller's warning echoed, suddenly clear. The twitch wasn't my imagination. I stood paralyzed as silence pressed in. Then a whisper, dry, crumbling from beneath the sheet. The cold intensified, my denial shattered. The sound came again, a rasp struggling to form words. Each utterance was a violation, a desecration. I thought of Miller, of escape, but I was trapped. Alone with something that should be silent, but wasn't. The fear was a fist around my heart. The secret on the slab was starting to find its voice. The whispering grew, a soft, sibilant hiss. I couldn't move, just listen. Then a word pulled itself out of the silence. My name, Stark. It echoed, filled every corner of that tiny, sterile room. It knew. My blood turned to solid ice. How could this dead thing know my name? I scanned the room, desperate, searching for an explanation. A trick, just cold steel, chipped tiles, and the dead. The only possible source was the thing on the gurney. Then it came again. Stark. There was something else in the tone. A hint of satisfaction. It was tasting my name, relishing the fear it caused. It was playing with me. It didn't stop there. With my name. The whispers eddied, swirled around me like smoke. Murmuring sounds, fragments, broken pieces of words. Too low at first, too garbled. Like a radio tuned just off station. Static and whispers. But the intent was chillingly clear. It was talking to me. About me. The tone was knowing, confident, as if it held all the cards and was just deciding how to play them, one by one, to torture me, to break me. The air grew thick, heavy, making it hard to draw a breath. Then a phrase, it sliced through the indistinct murmurs, sharp, precise, cold as the steel table. The rain was heavy that night, officer. My heart lurched, stumbled. Every muscle in my body went rigid. My mind, it snapped back like a whip crack to a night, years ago, a night I'd tried to bury, tried to forget, under layers of booze and denial. But it was always there, lurking, waiting. The rain. Yeah, the rain had been a torrent, a biblical deluge washing the city, but not clean, never clean. This couldn't be. It was impossible, this thing on the slab. It was a stranger, or it should have been. How could it know? About that specific night, about that specific rain? That was a secret, mine, locked away in the darkest vault of my memory. Only one other person truly knew the details, and they weren't talking. They couldn't talk, ever again. This knowledge, it was a violation. A tearing open of old wounds, the white sheet. It moved again, a definite shift this time, more than a twitch, more than a settling, near the head, as if the corpse was trying to lift its head, to turn, to look at me. The whispering changed. took on a new quality, a sickening, wet sound, gurgling, as if clearing a throat filled with something foul. The sterile scent of disinfectant was failing, overwhelmed by a faint, sweetish, cloying odor, the smell of the grave, unmistakable, and getting stronger. "You remember the alley?" The voice was stronger, each word a tiny nail hammered into my coffin. The alley played in my nightmares, a permanent loop of shadows and regret. This thing knew the one place I could never escape. Panic clawed at my throat, a silent scream trapped inside, my eyes locked on that white sheet, on the slow, deliberate, horrifying movements beneath it. The outline under the sheet was changing, becoming more defined. The whispering was punctuated by a low, guttural noise. A dry, humorless dead thing's laugh scraped along my nerves. It was an entity, an accuser, judge, and jury. It knew the crushing weight of my past, hidden so carefully. The long, dark, terrible night was only just beginning. The white sheet. It didn't just move now, it tore, a sound like rotten canvas ripping, slow, deliberate. My blood turned to ice, every instinct screamed, run, fight, do something. But I was paralyzed, rooted to the spot, watching the nightmare unfold. The air thickened, grew colder. If that was even possible, the smell of grave dirt, it was stronger now, choking me, suffocating me. This wasn't happening, this couldn't be, but it was. A hand emerged, claw-like, skeletal fingers, yellowed skin stretched taut over bone, patches of flesh missing, raw, dark, like something had gnawed on it, long broken fingernails caked with dried blood, and something else, something dark. It pawed at the edge of the torn sheet, tugging, pulling it away, revealing more slowly, agonizingly. The corpse, it was sitting up, or trying to, a grotesque parody of life, a puppet pulled by unseen, unholy strings. The sheet slithered to the cold floor, a discarded shroud, and there it was, the source of the whispers, the source of my terror, the body. Its skin was a roadmap of bruises, purple, black, green, horrific. Chunks of flesh were gouged out from its arms, its chest, its neck, as if wild animals had feasted. Its eyes, oh God, its eyes. One was a swollen, pulpy mess. The other was open, staring, not blankly, not anymore. It stared right at me directly, with an intelligence that shouldn't exist. It was a woman, or what was left of one. Her hair, matted with blood and gore, clung to her skull in patches, her lips, torn, pulled back in a rictus grin, or maybe a snarl, revealing broken, stained teeth. The damage to her body was unspeakable, brutal, far worse than I'd first glimpsed. This wasn't just murder, this was mutilation, and it was looking at me, seeing me. The cold of the room was nothing compared to the chill emanating from those dead, knowing eyes. Stark, the voice, no longer a whisper, a rasp, dry, crackling like stones grinding together. But clearer now, stronger, it came from those torn lips, from that ruined throat. My name again, a death sentence, spoken by death itself. I tried to speak, to shout, to curse, but my throat was a knot of ice. No sound came out, only a strangled gasp. My mind reeled, trying to process, trying to deny, but there was no denying this, no denying her. She moved. A jerky, unnatural motion, her head tilted, as if curious, or maybe sizing me up. Her one good eye, it never left mine. It burned into me, stripping away my composure, my training, my 20 years on the force, gone. In the face of this abomination, this was beyond anything I'd ever encountered, beyond anything I could have imagined. The stink of her decay filled my nostrils, sweet, sickening, the smell of my own damnation. I wanted to vomit. "You look scared, Officer Stark." A wet, gurgling sound accompanied the words. Amusement? It was hard to tell, but the intent was clear. To mock, to torment. Her good eye narrowed slightly, a flicker of something ancient, something evil, passed across its surface. "You should be." She knew everything, the way she said officer. It was a sneer, a title stripped of all meaning, all authority. In this room, she was the authority. I finally found my voice, a pathetic croak. "What are you?" The words felt stupid, inadequate as soon as they left my lips. She shifted on the gurney, the sound of bone grating against steel. It set my teeth on edge. "I am your reckoning, Stark." Her voice was flat, devoid of emotion, but heavy with a terrible certainty. "I am the truth you tried to bury. The truth." That word, it hit me like a physical blow, knocking the last of the air from my lungs. She began to swing her legs off the side of the gurney. The movements were slow, stiff but purposeful, each motion a fresh wave of horror washing over me. Chunks of rotted flesh fell away, slapping onto the cold concrete floor with wet, sickening plops. I recoiled, took a step back, another. My back hit something hard, cold, the steel door, the only way out. My hand fumbled for the handle, blindly, desperately. I had to get out, now. The handle, it wouldn't turn. I twisted it again, frantic, nothing. Panic flared, hot and sharp. I rattled it, shook it. No! I whispered. It was locked. Impossible. The attendant. He hadn't locked it. I hadn't locked it. My eyes darted back to the corpse. She was watching me, that single, malevolent eye, fixed on my struggle. A faint, almost imperceptible smile touched her ravaged lips. She knew. She had done this. Somehow, going somewhere, Stark. Her voice closer now. She was off the gurney, standing, unsteady, but standing. A silhouette of unimaginable dread. She took a dragging step towards me, then another. The sound of her bare, decaying feet on the concrete. A shuffling, wet sound. That would haunt my nightmares if I lived to have any. We have so much to discuss. Her tone was conversational, almost pleasant, which made it 1,000 times more terrifying. I was trapped, locked in a freezer with a walking, talking, mutilated corpse, a corpse that knew my deepest, darkest secret, a corpse that clearly wanted something from me. Miller's words echoed, "Make sure our guest stays put." He hadn't meant the body. He'd meant me. This was a setup, a sick, twisted trap, and I'd walked right into it. The cold steel of the door against my back. It felt like the lid of a coffin. My coffin. She stopped, a few feet away, close enough that I could smell the grave on her breath. See the glistening rot in the missing chunks of her flesh. The bruises on her skin seemed to pulse in the harsh, fluorescent light. "You know why I'm here, Stark." It wasn't a question, it was a statement. Her voice, though ragged, carried an undeniable power. The power of the grave, the power of vengeance. I could only stare, frozen, waiting for the axe to fall. That night, she rasped, her good eye boring into me. The rain, the alley. "You weren't alone, were you?" My stomach twisted into a knot. The blood pounded in my ears. She knew the details, the ones that mattered, the ones that condemned me. "You made a mistake, Stark, a terrible mistake." Her words were like ice picks, chipping away at the walls I'd built around that memory, the walls that were now crumbling. Fast. And then you saw her. The corpse's head tilted again. A grotesque parody of sympathy. The woman, the one who saw what you did. A cold dread, colder than the room, colder than death itself, enveloped me. The pregnant woman, my God, the one I'd silenced permanently to cover my tracks, my sin, the one I told myself no one knew about. She saw the real monster that night, Stark. This thing, this abomination. It was her, or a vessel for her, her vengeance. "You will tell me, Stark." Her voice dropped, became a low, guttural growl, full of menace, full of a hunger that was not of this world. "You will confess what you did, to her, to him. You will speak the truth, aloud." Her ruined lips peeled back further, revealing more of those broken teeth, "Or I will peel it from your flesh, piece by piece, throughout this long, dark night. I have time. And you, Stark," she paused, the silence stretching, "you are all mine." My back pressed against the morgue door, locked, trapped. This reanimated horror had me cornered. "Confess," it rasped, "or be consumed." My mind searched for an escape. This couldn't be real. I had to find a way out of this icy tomb. "What do you want?" I stammered. "Money, just let me go." Survival instinct clawed its way through the terror. Maybe there was a price, just that cold, patient stare. My thoughts raced back to Lieutenant Miller. "Miller isn't your demon tonight, Stark," she rasped. "I am." She knew my thoughts. There was no rationalizing this away. The reanimated woman dismissed my pleas with a shake of her mangled head. "Your money means nothing to the dead, Stark," she gurgled. "Your truth I crave, the truth you tried to drown in whiskey. Let's start at the beginning, shall we?" she continued, her one good eye glinting. She meant the first one, the catalyst for all this darkness, the way his head hit the brick wall with a sickening thud. Easy to forget, easy to cover up. My mind screamed, "No!" Her voice, it was a scalpel dissecting the layers of self-deception. "Murder has a way of staining everything, doesn't it, Officer Stark?" The corpse paused, letting the weight of that first damning truth settle upon me. The air in the morgue felt thick, heavy with unspoken horrors and the cloying sweetness of decay. Then her voice, a ghastly parody of sorrow, continued its dreadful narration. "And then Stark, then she saw you. My heart hammered. The pregnant woman, the innocent witness, the true reason this avenger stood before me now. Her only crime, her terrible misfortune, was to be in that alley at that exact moment, to see the monster under the policeman's badge. She didn't scream, did she? The corpse continued, her voice a low, sickening whisper, just that gasp, that look of pure, unadulterated terror. The corpse's one good eye seemed to reflect that long-ago fear, amplifying it, directing it straight at me. She saw you, the decorated officer, standing over a dead man, your face in the dim light. No mistake then, Stark, no accident, just a killer revealed. You will speak her name, Stark, the corpse hissed, its voice dropping to a predatory growl, its decaying form tensed, ready to pounce. You will tell me what you did to her. Confess, or the feast begins. And believe me, officer, its ruined lips curled into something resembling a smile. I am famished. The air was a frozen razor. My back was welded to the steel door. No escape, only her and the truth. That one good eye drilled into me, stripping away the lies. It was useless now. All of it. Confess or be devoured by the secrets I'd killed to protect. All right, I choked out. She waited, still as the grave. Her silence was a vice. The informant, Leo. I started there. I described the rainy alley, the argument, the shove, the sickening crack of his skull, the sudden stillness, the realization of what I'd done. Saying it aloud now, it tasted like the lie it always was. Her expression didn't change, just that unwavering dead stare, demanding more. I spoke of the panic, the desperate cover-up, planting evidence, wiping prints, the lies I'd told my superiors, the lies I'd told myself. They spilled out. This cold room had become my confessional. And then I had to speak of her, the pregnant woman. She saw me, her gasp, the terror in her eyes, her desperate flight, her pleas for her life. I confessed to the chase, the cornering, to extinguish her light, to protect myself. I was a monster, and she was my mirror. My confession hung in the frigid air. I was broken, staring at the corpse of the woman I had murdered. The silence stretched. She moved. The truth, she croaked. It has a bitter taste, doesn't it, Stark? Unlocking the final, terrible act of her vengeance. Suddenly the light above us sputtered and died, plunging the room into gloom. The corpse lurched forward, reaching for me. A scream tore from my throat. Her touch was ice and fire. Then my screams choked off. The last light died. Silence. The morgue had claimed its due.